Welcome to the Unshackled Life Podcast. Real talk about faith, freedom, and following Jesus. I'm Dalen Woodard, and I'm glad you're here. Whether you've been walking with Jesus for years or you're just trying to figure out what's real in a noisy world, this space is for honest conversation, raw reflection, and truth that sets us free. Let's get into today's episode. Yesterday was a hard day that was good for me, and good in general. I've participated in, or at least visited, many different types of recovery groups over the years and have proclaimed that I'm an alcoholic, an addict, or specific addictions, about things that I have been freed from. I've heard people come against saying things like that because our words have power and you're speaking bondage over yourself. I disagree, as at least in my case. It reminds me that my freedom is contingent on walking with the one who set me free. I didn't do it, and I can't maintain it. On my own, without Christ, I am still powerless in each of those areas that I have had years of freedom in. In one such group, they use different terminology. When I visit there, I get to say, I have been set free from several different addictions and alcoholism, and yet do still struggle at times with areas in my life where I haven't been fully sanctified or restored yet. One of those struggles is depression and complex PTSD, and yesterday was an Eeyore day. That personalized little black rain cloud sat heavy over me. But it was a good day. Not a good day, all things considered. It was simply a good day. How could that be if I had to struggle not to start crying over nothing or felt the heaviness of grief and sorrow? I wasn't fully overtaken by depression. I call it a half-depressed kind of day. My emotions were stuck in the spin cycle of self, but my mind, by grace, was grounded. My emotions control how I feel and, to a great extent, how my body reacts to that. So I felt depressed. And I know that it was that oh so attractive self-pity, because if I turned my mind to examine my emotions, that's where it went. But once I understood that, I realized I just needed to get over myself. I don't mean that I needed to act like my feelings weren't valid or pretend it away. Myself was lying to me again. I struggle with that, and I am quite often powerless to control that emotionally. But I can take my thoughts captive and turn to Jesus. I can keep my mind in the now, on things that are true. I had a day where I felt peace, in that I wasn't fighting against the thoughts in the depths of my mind that didn't reach my consciousness, but had my emotions firing in reaction. I wasn't accusing myself or mentally stuck in self-pity. There were flashes here and there that were reflexively shut down with the simple, "That's not actually true." I got over myself not by putting myself down or pretending, but by climbing into the sufficient grace given me through Jesus and rising to the surface of the depression. Feeling it all around me, but able to breathe and see the sun rather than being tumultuously tumbled and nearly drowned in its depths. I wasn't feeling extroverted. I'm sure I was quieter than usual. I didn't have a lot of energy or a lot of motivation to do much, but I was able to sit with my family, eat, visit, play a game, and enjoy. Yes, truly enjoy the time celebrating my father's 75th birthday. That's just one example of how the day was still good. When my thoughts are at rest in Jesus and I'm not lost in mental spin, I remember the truth. This will pass. The darkness may press in, but I can ride its waves protected by the light. I don't have to wait for my emotions to change. to be okay. There's grace to let truth lead, even when my feelings don't follow. That's serenity, peace in the storm, not the absence of it. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the Unshackled Life podcast. If it encouraged, blessed, or challenged you, consider following the podcast and sharing it with someone you feel it might bless or help. Be blessed, and remember, when you fix your thoughts on God and build your thinking on the foundation of His truth, God fixes your thoughts.